Um, Welcome everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you are in the country. My name is Omar Chowdhury. I am project lead with the City of Ottawa and vice chair of the ATIS committee with ITS Canada. Welcome to our, I'm not sure which number it is, but our next Lunch and Learn, Smart Fleets, a collaborative approach. We have 4 great speakers today, and just as a few reminders, what you will see, we will be throwing up some poll questions as we go along. In the right panel, let me see if I move this onto my screen, you will be able to see this little orange control button that'll allow you to hide and show the control panel. And then what will happen is there's a question area here. If you have questions, please go ahead and answer questions if you'd like to. And you can go ahead and put it, any questions that you may have into the chat. What we'll do is we'll have each of the speakers present, and then we'll leave some time. We have about 10 to 15 minutes for questions and answers. And so we'll open up the floor and go through some of the questions that people have asked. So with that, I will introduce each of the speakers one at a time, just so that way anybody who is joining in at a little bit of a later date will actually be able to hear about the speaker themselves. And so before I do that, I guess, there's a number of different things that the ATIS Technical Committee is really looking to try to do. One is obviously our goal is to share information with industry, being able to support the development of new technologies and make sure that across the country, those in the industry are able to learn, share, and grow. We certainly want to engage our membership. So if you are a member of our committee, thank you. If you're not, please consider joining. There'll be through the website, itscanada.ca. You can learn all about the individual committees that we have. And we are certainly wanting to engage with all of you to learn of subjects and topics. Myself and our chair, Judy Yu from Associated Engineering, we certainly have our own ideas of things that we'd like to learn and hear about, but we are very much a member-driven organization, and we want to be able to hear from you on topics and subjects of interest. And obviously, the other component is to help to generate reference material and provide enhanced information across the country for when development of technical papers and conference presentations. Great. There we go. All right. So I will introduce the panelists. We have about 40 minutes of presentation, and then, as I said, we'll leave about 10 to 15 minutes of questions. So I'll first introduce Roy Tal. Roy is Chief Technology Officer at Visual Defense. Roy is an accomplished senior leader with more than a decade of experience in operations, engineering, technology, and management. Over the course of his career, Roy has spearheaded the implementation of a large-scale transportation-focused software and infrastructure projects internationally as well as domestically. And as CTO of Visual Defense, Roy oversees the company's strategic direction, partnership, projects, and investments in artificial intelligence and smart city technologies. Roy graduated from the University of Western Ontario with a Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Engineering. He's a licensed professional engineer in Ontario and holds certifications in IT, information security, and project management. So with that, I will change presenters to choose Roy. And Roy, you, I think, should be unmuted and ready to go, I think.
Perfect. Can you see my screen okay, Omar?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction, Omar, and thank you for having us here. And as you mentioned, my name is Roy Tell. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Visual Defense, and today I'll be presenting a technology for collaborative infrastructure management. So it's a new way to do things. And just a quick thank you, Omar, to you and Janak and the rest of the ITS Canada team for having us here. And it's great to have an organization that helps to facilitate communication and innovation between industry, the public sector, and engineering best practices. So thanks again for having us. And just very quickly about us, we're a Canadian company in business for 20 years. We started with security. That's why you see security people on the right. And we found very quickly that people are not very good at doing repetitive tasks. So if you take a security guard, for example, and you put him in front of monitors and you tell him to look at them, about 15 minutes in, they'll start to wonder about other things and lose their focus. And this is applicable to a lot of monotonous, repetitive tasks. I think everybody here can think about a time that they've driven a vehicle and they missed an exit because they were thinking of something and not 100% focused on the road. And in contrast, machines are very good at doing repetitive tasks over and over and over. So if you take a robot or an artificial intelligence software and you let it do the same thing over and over, there's no degradation in performance over time. There's no human factor issues. It produces the same results over an extended period of time. And we got into artificial intelligence really for more of security applications, but we saw potential to also use it for road operations and intelligent transportation systems applications. So just very briefly, in 1 minute, what machine learning is, it's basically, it's a process that the software learns from data. And you can think about it like a textbook that's written by humans and read by the machine. And the textbook has questions and answers, and the questions are really just basically pictures with annotations that people put in that's the answers. And you have thousands of these questions and answers. And then the computer makes for itself a study plan. It has homework. So it has some questions which have the questions and answers that it studies from. And it has its own pop quizzes, which is questions it hasn't seen before, and it tests its knowledge. And kind of similar to us, the computer likes to succeed with what it's doing. So every time it gets something right, it pats itself on the back in a computer way. And any time that it gets something wrong, it penalizes itself for the mistake. And over time, the computer learned to basically get things right. So we had this idea about using artificial intelligence for pothole detection. And we're a software company that sits in an office. We're really not out there on the field. So we were also aware of the Autonomous Vehicle Innovation Network, which is an Ontario funded program that's administered by the Ontario Centers of Excellence. And I'll let Dan talk about that. We've applied to their program together with the City of Richmond Hill. And we're a Richmond Hill business, and the City of Richmond Hill is very good in looking for ways to improve and to work with local businesses. And we've had through this pilot also, the pilot expanded also to the City of Markham, which is a neighboring municipality that's also looking for ways to improve and to digitize things. And for me, this is actually my little universe here. I live in Markham, I work in Richmond Hill, both for a very long time, and this is my company. So this is my little universe here, and it's just great to work with everybody on the development of an innovative technology, which in our case is called ROVER. And what ROVER is it's a connected vehicle technology. So what this means is that we have a vehicle that's connected. That's the first part of it, and it has sensors. In our case, it's things like GPS and camera. It has software with intelligence and artificial intelligence that analyzes the data from the sensors, and it transmits it up to a cloud. And you can see on the bottom right, a vehicle basically driving through a city. It picks up detections automatically. So in our case, the first use case we've used it for is potholes. And these are actual pothole pictures that the system picked on the bottom left. And it's a really smarter way to improve the productivity of a vehicle, because basically what you have is you have a second pair of eyes in the vehicle. The smartphone is like having an extra person in the vehicle, logging information as the vehicle is driving along. So our initial use case was basically improving road operations, and really, as we said, this productivity improvement per vehicle. But what we realized really quickly is that it could be also transferred to other applications as well, like other service vehicles. So if, for example, you could have one vehicle that has an extra device. Sorry, Omar, I think your microphone might be still on. If you have if you have a vehicle with an extra device in it, and basically that device provides extra data. If you have more vehicles, let's say you have a fleet of 20 vehicles that you have devices in them, what this does is it allows you to get 20 times the data. So even within a municipality, this could be expanded. And I just want to mention that the cost of a smartphone in a vehicle is significantly less than the cost of a person. We've also, through our work, started to get in touch with other organizations that are interested in road-based data, like waste management companies, road maintenance companies, utilities companies. And the idea is that all of these fleets can kind of work together. So a waste management company could, for example, be interested more in pictures of people's lawns to see that they've picked up the garbage. Utilities companies may be more interested in power lines and in power distribution boxes. And the city fleet would be more interested in city incidents. And this can be scaled up and up and up. So it can include multiple municipalities, like regional municipalities, local municipalities, third-party contractors. And you can just think about the use cases here that we have data that is, each thing that is being identified by the system has an owner, whether it's a regional municipality, a local municipality, or a third-party vehicle. And the idea is that if you have a smart system that collects the data from all the vehicles and disseminates the right information to the right organization, you have here some serious efficiencies of scale. And what I mean by efficiencies of scale is you can look for a lot of different things that are of interest to a lot of different organizations, and that data could be shared based on who's the owner of the data. So some other examples besides pothole are signage issues, debris on the road, raised manholes or sunken manholes, and I can probably spend a whole presentation on things that we've been asked to include in this as well. But the idea is that this technology is set to find more and more things that are interesting to more and more organizations. And the smart way to do this is to share the data. And I just want to explain that the cost of sharing the data is very minor incremental cost. So when you think about the cost of the device in a vehicle, it's the fraction of the cost of operating a vehicle when you factor things like manpower, gas, insurance, vehicle costs, etc. When you have the data shared, it's even a fraction of the fraction cost. It's just the cost of storing, processing, and transmitting data, which is very minor. So for example, if you have a bus that goes through one or more municipalities, for example, that bus could be collecting data from regional roads, from local roads, and sharing it between different organizations. So this is the future that we see for connected fleets. And when I say future, I don't mean 5 or 10 years away. I mean, in the next year or two, I think we'll start seeing here in Ontario, municipalities and organizations that share data in this way. And just very briefly, we have also a work group that's across Canada that was established with the support of the City of Richmond Hill and the City of Markham. And basically, we're just looking for feedback, for suggestions. It's risk-free. We provide a kit, and even if you don't want to buy it at the end, if you're a municipality and you don't want to buy it, but you wanted to try it and learn and share data and share information, we'll be happy to work with you. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Omar. And if anybody has any questions, they can just reach me at roy.tal@visualdefense.com.
All right, thank you very much, Roy. That was really interesting, and look forward to hearing a little bit more when we get to the question and answer session. Let's just see. All right. So, and then also to hear from some of your municipal partners who have been working with you. So next on our list of presenters is Meeta Gandhi. She's Director of Strategy, Innovation, and Engagement at the City of Richmond Hill. Reporting to the city manager, Mita and her team are responsible for economic development, strategy and government relations, innovation, and major city projects such as the Richmond Hill Center secondary plan and the Yonge North subway extension. Prior to joining the City of Richmond Hill, Mita worked for the federal government for 20 years. She has a bachelor's degree from the University of Toronto, a public relations certificate from Ryerson University, and recently obtained a diploma in public administration from Western University. So with that, I will actually, just before I do that, I'm going to launch a quick poll to everyone. Hopefully you should see it. And cool. And get some answers from everyone, and then give it another just few seconds. All right, and I will now turn it over to you, Mita. There we go. Oh, I seem to have lost Mita in my list of presenters.
She's visible. It's Janneke here.
Okay.
She's muted by the organizer, so unmute her. Mita, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
No.
No. And I'm looking at the change presenter. So let me just try changing it to myself first.
It looks like she's not there, is she?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I see her now. Okay. So Mita, you should have, there we go. Magic.
There we go. Magic. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And I appreciate the opportunity to be before this audience. I have to say I am not a technology whiz, and so it's a little bit daunting to be in this company, but I'm gonna do the best I can. So I've already been introduced, so I'll spare you that piece. I'll just describe Richmond Hill a little bit for those who are not familiar with the municipality. It's situated in York Region and is essentially sandwiched between Markham and Vaughan. We have a population of approximately 200,000 people. And so we're a fairly big size city. We recently became, I'd say in the last year, became a city. We were the town of Richmond Hill, for those who may be familiar with that title prior to our new designation as a city, which, by the way, really doesn't carry with it anything other than a new title. So people always ask me that, does that change your status or anything like that? And it does not. Anyway, I'm pleased to be here. I'm just going to take you through a number of slides. Hopefully that works. Okay, there we go. So working with Visual Defense, it's been a great pleasure and honor to work with Roy and his team at Visual Defense for the last couple of years. And we were very much intrigued with his product, particularly with Visual Defense being a Richmond Hill company. We really do try to support local businesses and get them on the map as best as we can. And in this case, really Visual Defense was bringing solutions to a problem that we didn't even know we necessarily had. I think that's one of the key findings I have about innovation, and I'll talk about innovation in a moment, just in general terms. But a lot of times a municipality or organization doesn't even realize it has a particular problem. It's only when somebody says, hey, I've got this technology, and did you know that if we install this technology in your vehicles, it will do the work of what 10 vehicles do. And so that is the value proposition essentially that Visual Defense brought to us. And we said, well, of course, we're going to try this out. And we had an opportunity to work with Roy and his team. So also recognizing that there was an opportunity to secure external funding for this project, and Visual Defense needed a potential end user. So there you go, partnership made. Our roads operations team, I need to really acknowledge their support. You need to have multiple players when you're bringing on something like this. And in our case, it wasn't just that our economic development team wanted to support a local business. We need to have an end user in the city that is an early adopter. And that's a very key component, and somebody who can help bring on new technology and celebrate it. Recognizing that, you know, there are always mostly human resources concerns around using technology that could be perceived in a way as replacing or doing something that staff had been traditionally doing, and recognizing that this will only add and support the work that our staff does. It's not ever intended to replace them. So we were first to support the development of the technology when it was just an idea, and it was, as I mentioned, an opportunity for us to demonstrate results. In terms of the results, we did a pilot project last year, and from October 1st to December 31st of 2019, the technology picked up 87 potential potholes from one vehicle. So just by comparison, there were multiple city vehicles we looked at that were picking up potholes by visual detection by individuals, and through multiple vehicles there were 104 potholes that were identified. So just recognizing that one piece of technology in one vehicle did approximately the same amount of work as multiple vehicles with multiple people who were identifying potholes visually. The majority of the potholes that were found by the technology were otherwise unreported potholes. So this is where the technology is able to identify potholes that may not seem particularly severe, and so that helps us to fill them earlier, sooner, and of course reduces overall costs because we're not dealing with significant problems in our streets. Recognizing Richmond Hill, as I mentioned, is part of York Region, so we not only have regional roads, local roads, we also have regional roads, and the software was able to identify altogether 219 potholes. So I talked about the 87 potential potholes, that was just Richmond Hill roads, but we also have regional roads intertwined with ours. This was also an opportunity to share data with the upper tier, so with York Region, and to identify road defects that are smaller than was identified visually. I mentioned that just to begin with, that this technology was really being able to do the early identification, and that ultimately has significant cost benefit effects for us as a municipality. So that was just a description of the technology in use and how well we were able to work with Roy and the visual defense team at putting in the pilot project. In terms of innovation, challenges, and opportunities, really when we want to bring on this type of technology, as I mentioned, it's not just about economic development supporting local Richmond Hill businesses or local businesses in the GTA. It's also about making sure that we have early adopters, and to do that we need to create an environment organizationally where it's safe to fail fast and where new ideas are encouraged. This was not a huge risk on our part. We were installing a piece of software that was going to help us, but tech innovation often is seen as something that may have a certain amount of risk associated, and people need to feel safe to present new ideas and to be to feel okay to fail in doing so. And I also mentioned earlier the need to solve problems. It's really important for organizations that have technology to knock on doors, municipal and otherwise, to help us identify the fact that we even have the problem. And also for municipalities to really do a deeper dive and ask themselves and other orders of government or organizations to really ask themselves, is there a way we can do this better? Is there a way we can patrol our roads better? Is there a way we can enforce bylaws? Is there a better way for us to detect potholes? Is there a better way for us to clear snow in the winter? All of these types of things are really key and we need to have that openness towards identifying and solving problems. I also want to point out that innovation isn't new. It's something that we've been doing forever. Ultimately, to me and in my experience, innovation is really about problem solving. There's no best before date on that. That's been going on for a very, very long time. And sometimes I think that people get caught up in the word innovation, and it comes with it a certain level of uncertainty. So I think demystifying that word is really critical to actually take the steps to move forward. In terms of the challenges, fear is something of the unknown, of failing, and that's why I said building a culture of failing fast, and for it being okay to fail fast is really important. This is how we've always done it thinking. I don't know very many organizations that don't have some segment that has this way of thinking. We've been doing this for this long, and it, you know, if it isn't broke, if the perception is that it isn't broke, why fix it? So it's really important to encourage people to recognize that there are alternate ways. And a lot of times this is how we've always done it, is aligned with the fear. It's the fear of losing their jobs, that they're going to be replaced by the technology, that their work is going to significantly change. And so it's important that when we're conveying and the narrative to the innovation storyline is really, yes, there's an opportunity to bring on this technology, and here are some opportunities that it unveils for us as an organization and for individuals. I've already talked about the lack of a fail fast approach and mentality. I think that's critical. You need to have a fail fast mentality in an organization, and that it's okay to fail fast. Silos is another area. So when we first started on this project, there was initial conversations between our roads operations and directly with visual defense, and we realized quickly that we needed to bridge that. We needed to have our economic development team because there was a whole legal and procurement component, and we need help. I mean, we don't work as individuals as best as we can work as a collective, and I think that recognizing in organizations that there are silos and that they need to be bridged, that's a key ingredient for fostering innovation in organizations. And of course, there are rules. And government, I've worked in government for the vast majority of my life, and rules are definitely there, and they're there for good reason. And it's important to see where things can be adjusted or piloted or reframed so that you can do new things. So we, of course, have procurement processes, and we had to talk to our procurement folks and our legal folks for all of the okays for this to happen. And so while rules are important and necessary, it's also important to have discussions with the subject matter experts around the table so that you can facilitate, at the very least, pilot projects. So, and that's what we did in our case. And just to round up my part of the presentation, the opportunities that present itself with this technology and other type of innovative solutions are exceptional. So demonstrating the benefit of the technology or the new tool, the new approach that's being used, act as the example or customer, and by way of that, that's what we are trying to do with this program. We actually also launched in Richmond Hill a contest for local companies to pitch to us ideas that we could use to solve city problems. So very much in the same vein as this particular example, but we need to actively engage the business community to help us either identify new problems, and along with that technology, if it can assist, or to address problems that are already evident. The Government of Canada has been doing this for decades. I worked for Public Works, well, it was then called Public Works and Government Services Canada, and we had we had a program where we acted as the customer. So we were looking for companies to identify technology services and for all branches of the federal government that we could use, and we would be the first customer. And it offers the potential for new companies to test out a product. It offers a lot of problem-solving energy, and there are only winners in that circumstance. We need to ask in all organizations the question, why not? I think that we kind of get stuck in the this is how we've always done it approach, and there's less sometimes so of the thought of why not, and so that is key. Bridging ideas with implementation is about, in this example, we knew that this was a problem, that the potholes was a problem, and instead of taking an extraordinary amount of time to try to find a solution, we partnered quickly with Visual Defense. We used their technology and we just said go. And sometimes you just have to say go. And often some really amazing things can result. Innovation is everywhere. I'll just end with that. There are lots of opportunities to get stuck in the weeds, and lots of opportunities to say no, and lots of opportunities to say why rather than why not. I choose to say why not, and to really be the example and the customer of products that would help or will help a municipality in our case, but in any other organization, find solutions that ultimately benefit the organization and its customers. So that's the end of my part of my presentation. Thank you very much for your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mita. That was a great synopsis, and I know at the City of Ottawa, we actually have something quite similar, an innovation pilot project or program that allows small businesses, startups, and so forth who are looking for that first customer, for that first proof of their technology, to be able to come on in and meet and get connected to various departments who could use that service. And I think it's great encouragement, both from as you sort of saying, was from an economic development, supporting local businesses, but it's also the opportunity of tapping into so many new innovative ideas and thoughts, and some of them will work out great and some of them might not, but if you don't ask why, if you don't open yourself up to the opportunity of giving access to it, it's hard to know. So that was great. So I just put out one poll, and I'm gonna close this one out. Excellent. So I have a couple of questions that are going to be coming in, and we'll come back to those in a second. I'll launch another poll, and while I do, I'll introduce our third speaker. So next up is Alice Lamb. Alice is Senior Manager for Roads, Surveys, and Utilities Operations for the City of Markham. Alice graduated from the University of Toronto Civil Engineering program in 2001, beginning her career right away with the WSP Transportation Group, specializing in traffic engineering and planning. In 2003, Alice joined the Ministry of Transportation's Engineering Development Program to rotate through different transportation discipline areas such as structural, traffic, ITS, highway engineering, and urban design. Through her 11 years with the ministry, she led different environmental assessments and detailed design projects addressing various transportation needs. And in 2014, Alice joined the City of Markham and is currently a senior manager responsible for road operations, right-of-way management, survey, and utilities for the entire transportation right-of-way and network. So with that, I will close the current poll, and I will then turn it over to Alice. So Alice, you should now have control of the screen. Perfect.
Okay, hello there. Can you guys see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So again, my name is Alice Lam. I'm the Senior Manager with Road Survey and Utility and Operation with City of Markham. First of all, I feel really great to be an honor to be part of this presentation with ITS. As Omar mentioned earlier, when I was at MTO, I spent around 2 years in the ATMS and ITS section. So it's kind of like feeling back to home coming here. And in City of Markham, we're located in York region as well. We are a neighboring municipality to the City of Richmond Hill. We are in a population of approximately 354,000 in the City of Markham. And first off, would like to thank City of Richmond Hill in offering the opportunity, because like Mita mentioned earlier, when they partnered with VDI, very quickly, our counterpart from Road Operation in City of Richmond Hill reached out to us saying that, hey, why don't you guys join in this collaboration? So it was a great opportunity that multiple municipalities can join in an innovative collaborative project. So Mita cover off the innovation, Roy cover off on the ITS technology, and today I'm going to cover it off on the application side in terms of with the operation lens and the end user need. So in the road operation side, a lot of our work is dictated and mandated by the Minimum Maintenance Standard Act, Ontario Regulation 23902. We don't just look after winter maintenance, but we actually look after the entire right-of-way maintenance throughout the entire year. So what is pothole and what is paved surface? So there's a meaning and definition in the regulation. So paved surface means a surface with varying layer and layer of asphalt, concrete, and asphalt emulsion. Pothole means a hole in the surface of the roadway caused by any means, including wear of subsidence of the road surface or subsurface. And in the Act, it further outlined the patrolling requirement. And then the patrolling requirement tie in with different class of highway. And different class of highway is based on classification of the speed and the AADT average daily traffic. Another application in terms of regulation that this ROVER app help is the pavement management. Asset Management Ontario Regulation 588/17 is relatively new in the industry. So what it covers is that all municipalities need to have an asset management plan to outline our assets and our program. And road pavement is one of the core assets that all municipalities need to have a plan and have a strategy and financial plan associated to it. In pavement management, it's mainly the idea is the right technique at the right location, at the right time, on the right road. The theory is to extend the life of the road and reduce the overall annual cost of ownership. A lot of the time when people think about pavement management, it's shape and pave or road reconstruction. But prior to that, we would like to extend the life of the pavement. That is the most cost-effective way to manage our right-of-way. And as the City of Markham grows, you can see in the map on the screen, we used to be a very small town, but then over year and year with development, we grow into a city now. And then we have a population of 354. As it grows, the road network also grows. And we being government, sometimes we also have many different challenges, such as financial. And we oftentimes need to look at how can we do more with less, or how can we do more with the same amount of resource. So the technology come in great in helping us to do that. And in extending the pavement management, one of the easy way is to manage your road with the pothole. If the pothole is being addressed and paved and repaired in a timely manner, it prevents the water from going into the road bed. In preventing the water going into the road base, it eliminates further deterioration. If the pothole is unattended for, what it leads to is potential complete road reconstruction, because the road bed is deteriorated to a point that the crack will reflect to the surface. So in the City of Markham, we have a 2,200 lane kilometer paved road, and we have our program for annual road preservation and annual road rehabilitation. In terms of this collaboration experience, and one thing I would like to mention is that when Richmond Hill forward this opportunity, and when we first have our collaboration meeting with VDI, that it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's a win-win situation for road operation and for the entire municipal road operation industry and also the AI industry. How I see that is our patrol, we have our patrol frequency and our truck is out there. So when our truck is out there patrolling every day, and the machine actually need to see many different scenarios, many different situations in order to help the machine training and learning, then it's a win-win situation. And for us, when we are doing that, at first, like Nita mentioned, that we do have some hesitant about how our staff operator will be receiving this new software. Will they be looking at it like, is it a job elimination? Is it a job replacement? However, after talking to some of my operator, the feedback is tremendous. They are so happy with the program. They're actually asking me that, oh, how long do they can they use this software? How long can they use this program? It's simply because it helped them. The software improved our road scheduling, our road repair work. Typically, I don't know how many local municipality in the road operation industry in today's webinar, but some of our challenge is that when we're patrolling our road, pothole is not the only item that we need to record and we need to look at. There are many different items such as pavement marking, such as traffic sign and traffic signal, any kind of outage or roadkill, any situation that we need to respond to. And we have limited number of resources. So having the software, the eye is like another set of eyes sitting on the passenger side, helping us to pick up any pothole on the road. The beauty of it is that it saved my operator from stopping and going. Now they don't need to stop at the pothole location to mark down the location. A lot of the time when they mark it down on pen and paper, they may not be able to record the location as accurate. They may be drawing a reference point like 100 meters south from this intersection. But then now with the ROVER technology, it actually take an image and have a GPS location, record it, and then send it back to the car. And in our foreman, our working supervisor will be able to access those information and create a report. And then they can organize all the pothole repair in the same location. So instead of repairing a pothole in the east and then next a pothole in the west, now they can consolidate all the work and just have the hot box out and repair it all at the same time. So, and we see the beauty of it over time, that the software improvement through interactive response. Our operator, at the beginning when we pilot the project with VDI, we see there's some error, and like all machines, they need learning. So the machine may be picking up a shadow cast by a tree as a pothole. But then through our operator response and telling the system that this is an error, this is indeed not a pothole, it learned. And now we find that the accuracy is close to 98 or 99%, that they pick up the pothole, they no longer picking up the shadow on the road. So it's really impressive. And so I talked about the staff and work scheduling. And the next piece is the proactive repair. So the proactive repair, when we have the hot box out, is overall, there's a long-term saving. It saved that road from getting onto the shave and pave candidate or potential reconstruction. And the other long-term saving associated to this technology is the risk and liability side associated to the regulation. Because pothole, you can see there's tied into Ontario Regulation 23902, there could be certain risk and liability exposure that all municipality may face. So having a timely repair and timely response plan definitely help all municipality and all industry. In terms of future innovation pilot, we partner with VDI to expand other area of detection. So at this time is exploration status that we will continue working with VDI and City of Richmond Hill and other municipality to see if there's other opportunity to expand the existing program. And we also pilot a sidewalk robotic inspection. It's currently in trial and we finished, and now it's actually in evaluation stage. We're also looking at sidewalk robotic snow removal. There's a couple firm out there, a couple projects out there. So in City of Markham, we're very focused in innovation and digital. So how we can utilize the new technology, autonomous and AI, to help us to do our work better and serve our residents better. So, and from what I heard from my counterpart in the parks operation, they're also looking at some kind of robotic lawnmower So there's a lot of technology out there that can help us to do our work. So all in all, I just want to summarize today's presentation that from the application side, we definitely see a lot of benefit from innovation and a lot of benefit that can help all municipalities to manage our assets better and in a more cost-effective way. So this wraps up my presentation, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Alice. That was great. And, you know, I don't think what people realize is the amount of work that's responsible, as you sort of very clearly pointed out, the regulation 23 or 23902, I should say, and the patrolling frequency and the number of times that have to be, that the roads have to be monitored and checked. And if you have operators and staff going out there constantly, you know, the once a week or 2 times a week on a class 2 type of roadway, that's a lot of time and effort that they're going to be spending going through and cataloging things. And then the question is, did they remember that they got that pothole, you know, and that sort of thing. So I think the technology provides a significant amount of opportunity for making the lives easier of staff. So that was really great. We'll move on here in a second. What I'll do is I'm going to start. I'll introduce our next, last but definitely not least speaker, Dan Ruby. Dan is sector manager for automotive and mobility and innovation with the Ontario Centre of Excellence. Dan joined OCE in 2016 as a business development manager. In 2019, Dan joined the AVIN team as the sector manager for automotive and mobility innovation. In his current role, Dan works with the 6 AVIN test sites and develops and helps develop and manage projects on behalf of the AVIN R&D funding streams. Dan's prior role was economic development manager for the City of Vaughan, responsible for the innovation, research, development, and design convergence sector. Dan has also started a not-for-profit organization and founded 4 for-profit companies in his career. And he holds honors of Bachelor of Science from the University of Toronto. So I will close this poll and I will turn it over to Dan here. There you go, Dan, you should have control.
Thank you. I just want to check first that you can see my screen and you can.
We can see your screen and we can hear you loud and clear.
Great, thanks very much. So to start off, I'd like to thank ITS Canada for inviting us here to speak today. What I want to talk, I'm going to go really quickly because we're behind and I want to leave a little bit of time for questions. So I'm going to kind of skip over some of these slides as we go. I want to talk about an initiative called the Autonomous Vehicle Innovation Network, and this discussions on this started about 4 years ago with the province. And the province recognized that Ontario is a leader in 2 sectors. We are the 2nd largest IT cluster in North America, and we have the 2nd largest automotive sector in North America. And so it made sense to look at this new emerging technology space and how can we make Ontario a global leader in this space. And out of those conversations, AVIN was born. AVIN is a bit of a misnomer. It stands for Autonomous Vehicle Innovation Network. It's a great brand and it is getting global recognition, but really it's a bit narrowing in terms of its name. And this picture is meant to expand your thinking on AVIN. Really, we're not focused on autonomous and connected vehicles only. We are really focused on smart mobility. And so I'm going to skip over this. Really, it's we're capitalizing on 4 trends collectively known as ACES, which is the autonomous, connected, electrified, and shared trends. And these are a few examples of each of those trends, but I'll skip over this. So really, the scope of AVIN is about the movement of people and goods on roadways and rail. So that's really where our focus area is, on any technology that can improve the movement of people and goods on roadways and railways. So we are not looking at flight transportation, strictly railways, light heavy vehicles, heavy duty vehicles, transportation infrastructure, and that's where the Visual Defense Project plays. Intelligent transportation systems and also transit supportive systems in vehicles, such as platforms. The goals of the AVIN program really are to increase road safety and reduce traffic congestion. The AVIN program had received over $80 million to build a network of collaboration across Ontario to make Ontario a global leader in space. And so AVIN funds at a macro level and a micro level. And we have 5 programs in a central hub to help us deliver on that mandate. At the macro level, we're funding labs, if you will, or innovation centers, if you will. We call them regional technology development sites. And these are locations across Ontario from Windsor to Ottawa that have incubation space for smart mobility related companies, but also have unique laboratory offerings for those same companies. And the idea is a company might access the, let's say the autonomous demonstration track, but they also might leverage the virtual VR cave in Windsor or the all-weather testing facility in Durham and so on. We also have a demonstration zone in Stratford, and this really is a living lab. The City of Stratford allows access to their municipal fleet vehicles, but also there's a fleet of vehicles that are, at least pre-COVID, were being and these technologies are strapped onto these vehicles. AVIN is getting global recognition from that, but so is each of the companies that have their technology strapped onto the vehicle. So it's been a win-win. In terms of micro level, we have funding available, which Roy mentioned he was able to access for his project with the City of Richmond Hill. So an overview of the funding, it's really about fostering partnerships and collaboration. We're focusing on prototype, technology development, validation, and demonstration of actual products and services in the field. We're funding activities from TRL 3 to 7, which means proof of concept to a functional demonstration in an operational environment. And all the activities that take you from the 3 to the 7, or whatever TRL level you're at, to a 7, would be eligible expenses in the budget. Each of the projects must be by a market or commercial pull. So we're not just funding pure research here. We're funding research that leads to a commercial partner. Applicants have to be small companies in Ontario with less than 500 employees. They must have R&D operations in Ontario. But the partner can be anywhere in the globe. And really the partner is someone that is the customer of the applicant. So they're demonstrating market pull. The one catch is that we only fund activities that are occurring in Ontario. So if your partner for your project is a US-based company, any expenses that occur in the US would not be eligible for reimbursement. In terms of the funds, we have a Stream 1, we have a Stream 2. Stream 1 is a 12-month project. We'll fund up to $100,000. You can apply at any time for this. There's no deadline. Our Stream 2 is 24 months worth of project, up to $1 million. In both cases, for Stream 1 and Stream 2, we reimburse 1/3 of the project costs. So for a $1 million budget from OCE, you'd have a $3 million plus project. On the Stream 2s, there's 2 calls a year. The next call is coming up in mid-November. We also have a winter tech program. This is a $500,000 budget. Again, it's 33% of the expenses. So for a $500,000 grant, you would have to have a $1.5 million budget. Additional conditions on winter tech is you've got to be tackling snow, freezing rain, hail, severe winter weather conditions essentially. And the TRL level, we're looking for a little further along, TRL 5+. So we're really funding component integration here. We also have a talent element program. On the talent program, any company that is working in the smart mobility space and wants to hire on tech dev support staff, this is for technology development, not for administration or sales, can receive funding from the talent development program. Internships, we can fund 1 person for up to 12 months, and any particular company can hire as many as 4 people, and we will pay $30,000 for that person for the 12-month internship. We also have fellowships where we will pay $70,000 over 2 years for a fellow postdoc, and so that's also available, and a particular company can access up to 2 fellows. And lastly, I'm trying to go really fast here, a few winners. I just thought I'd talk about a few municipal examples. You've heard about the visual defense project and how all that's going. Other municipalities have also done interesting projects. The City of Toronto did one with Xmatic, who has an aftermarket autonomous vehicle add-on kit, and they put them on their fleet vehicles. A company called Smart Cone Technology of Ottawa is doing a demonstration with the town of Whitby in Durham region, and there will be an autonomous shuttle in the town of Whitby demonstrated in Whitby. And another company is working with the Oshawa Power Utilities, and they've developed an autonomous electric vehicle charging station. So a different twist on it there, where an autonomous vehicle can autonomously drive up to the charging station and get autonomously charged without any human interaction. So that's it. Apologies for the brevity, but happy to share the slides after the event. And once again, thank you. And that's my contact information there.
Well, thanks so much, Dan. You definitely powered through that, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to leave your screen up if you're fine with that for just a couple of minutes, so that way people can jot down your contact information if they're interested in getting information and following you up directly. I know that here at the City of Ottawa, with our AVIN site, there's a lot of work and all the support that you guys have provided to the city, to the Invest Ottawa, which is the operator of the AVIN site, has been tremendous. And I encourage anyone who's on the call who has technology or is interested to certainly follow up with Dan, because as you could see, there was a lot of programs there, whether it's on the staff and the support level, or in helping essentially get to that first kind of customer and demonstration. The OCE and the AVIN program has been tremendous. We have a couple of questions that came in. One of them was sort of geared onto the municipal side of things, and asking about how COVID has changed priorities for innovation. And maybe either Mita or Alice, if you'd like to speak a little bit about that. And with the potential for cities running larger deficits, at least next year, hopefully only next year, how is that kind of changing your thoughts and priorities for using and adopting technology?
I'm happy. Go ahead, Alice.
Yeah, for City of Markham, that my focus is now shifting gear to winter maintenance. So winter maintenance, winter is coming close, and at this point, we're not particularly looking at technology. We use many different technology in our winter plow truck, such as managing salt consumption, salt management plan, and sending the information back, and also AVL information. So in terms of managing the COVID, winter is winter. We have to respond, and it's not a service, it's an essential service. It's not something that we can cut. So at this point, that our operation is essential, and we're maintaining our service level until a point that we will no longer do, then we will have to come up with a secondary plan. Over to you, Mita.
Thanks, Alice. I just stepping away from specifically this technology. If anything, COVID has accelerated innovation in the use of digital tools. In particular, we automated our wedding license application process. We automated our development application process. So if anything, there is far more attention being placed in how do you digitize processes that were previously done manually.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think the idea, if you would have asked people a couple of years ago, could all our staff work from home? The answer would have been no, that's never going to happen. Now it's been forced upon us, and while technology doesn't work perfectly every time, it certainly is. We've demonstrated that we can operate remotely in a diverse network efficiently and effectively. So that's really great. I also had a question for Roy, a sort of a two-part question. So Alice had mentioned that the technology takes a camera, takes a photograph and a GPS locate or coordinate and be able to submit that information. So it's doing its processing, visual processing on the device, on the phone as it drives. How is that information kind of get put back in, into the system? I'll call it the system, and in the back end. And then how do organizations tap into that? That would be the first kind of question. And then second, you had mentioned previously about having others get involved in the program. If maybe you'd like to just talk a little bit about that before we wrap up. Roy, can you hear us?
Thank you, Omar. Sorry,
okay.
I was muted. Yeah, so I'll be happy to take it very quickly. So yes, we have basically a camera that collects information. That information is being analyzed by artificial intelligence to look for things that we're interested in. We do have several options for privacy in terms of blurring personally identifying information, and we save it in a secure manner and upload it to a cloud when we have connectivity. Once it's on the cloud, there are different ways that this data can be accessed. We have a free and open application interface, so that data can be basically pulled out by the organization to be used in any way that they want. And it's also being available in an interface that allows the municipality to kind of go through it and address the issues or the processes that they have to deal with these incidents. And just about the program that we have, we found very early that the more municipalities we work with, the more accelerated the development and adoption of the technology is. And as such, what we decided we want to do, we are providing evaluation kits to any interested municipality free of charge to be used for an extended period of time, just to give us feedback to see how they can use it themselves. And what it helps is it helps in two ways. One, even if a municipality does not have a budget to implement something like this, even if a municipality is not really looking to invest a lot of time into it, but wants to learn about how it can improve them, by us providing to them this kit, they're learning about how this could potentially impact and improve their operations. And then in the future, if they are interested to further pursue technologies like ROVER, then at least they know what's entailed and how to use it. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, and it's just really a group effort to improve and to push forward.
Great. So any organization that's on the call, if they wanted to, they should just reach out to you. What's your website address, so that way people can find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way to get to us is to go to visualdefense.com, and defense is spelled with a C. And then basically from there on, if you click on our AI, artificial intelligence tab, it's very easy to navigate and to find ways to contact us. That's
perfect. All right, and I think Yannick has just shared it in the chat link. So if anybody wants to, please follow up. And so a recording of this webinar should be available online on the itscanada.ca website in the coming days. So before we wrap up, I'll just roll out another poll question, but I wanted to thank our speakers. I wanted to thank Roy, Mita, Alice, and Dan for their presentations. It was really informative, both from understanding what the technology is that's available, how municipalities around the country can actually use this, and what some of the thoughts behind that. And then as well, for those in Ontario who are doing work, to be able to tap into some of the technology or some of the funding and opportunities that Dan and the folks at OCE are providing is really great. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody once again, and then we'll wish you a happy day, and hopefully you'll be able to join us on the next call. Thank you so much.